Hello again. I'm Bill Russell, president of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, and we have another Around the Lake. And this one we have with Chelsea Lineberger and your pursuit, physiotherapy and performance. What is physiotherapy?
So physiotherapy is physical therapy. Those two words those two
Oh,
terms can be interchanged with each other. Um, Typically, you'll hear physiotherapy in some of the other countries around the world. Physical therapy is a little bit more common in the U.S. But honestly, it fit really nicely with the P in pursuit and the P in performance. So from a monogram perspective, it's all P's.
and how did you come up with the name Pursuit?
Um, when decided to form this clinic and go out on my own and do my own thing, I wanted for patients and for people who saw the name of my clinic to know that when they show up in my clinic, that we're always pursuing something bigger, something better, more efficient. I want people to know that I am pursuing excellence as a physical therapist and that I want to provide excellent care to them and the community, but also to know that I want my patients to have something that they're also pursuing. So that's where that name came
And
from.
and I think most of us understand physical therapy and what you're doing, but who is the perfect patient for you? Who is somebody that should look to Pursuit?
I think the perfect patient is someone who comes in the clinic and wants help guiding them towards that, whatever they're pursuing, right? I want patients who come in who say, I'm ready to work really hard towards this goal of being stronger or being fitter or being out of pain, knowing that I'm going to help them for that hour that they're in my clinic, but that there's going to be some follow up on their end at home. I always tell my patients, you see me an hour a week, but there's 167 other hours in the week that you get to pursue your goals, right? Like, what are you doing to follow up on that?
Mhm.
So if you're willing to work hard, we'll get along just fine.
Now, I know your office is in Denver.
Yes.
Exactly where is the office?
I am located pretty close to the Westport area of Denver. So I'm north of Highway 73, a few miles. Most people in Denver, when I tell them, I'm like, if you know where Domino's is on Business 16, you can find me because I'm about 3 doors down from Domino's.
Now, where do your patients? What's your target market? Where all do your patients come from?
My patients come from kind of all over the place. I tend to see a little bit more in the fitness population. I'm also a CrossFit coach at CrossFit DHF in Denver. So from a just personal perspective, when I meet someone who does CrossFit or some other fitness pursuit, then I typically vibe with them pretty well just because I exist in that world, both personally and professionally. So we tend to get along pretty well. But I've seen, moms, I've seen dads, I've seen older people, younger people, I've got kids that are on my schedule. So I see a little bit of everybody. But I tend to see a little bit more of that fitness population just because I also exist in that world personally.
So you went into physical therapy because of your background in sports?
Well, I went into college just bound and determined to go to med school. And I had a mentor in college who said, I don't want to burst your bubble, but I think you're probably going to hate med school. And I was like, what am I going to do? So she ended up setting me up with a physical therapist in Boone, and I loved it up there. And she basically said, I think you're going to want that really special relationship with each of your patients. And a lot of times as physicians, they don't get that because they just don't have the time. And so she set me up with a physical therapist, and I loved shadowing him. He was so much fun to work with. And so that's how I ended up in physical therapy school.
And you decided to open up your office in Lake Norman. Did you live here before? Are you from here, or do you just?
Yeah. I grew up in Sherrills Ford.
Okay.
So I've been around that area the whole time. Other than being in school, I've lived in Sherrills Ford and the Denver area my whole life. I still live here now. And so when I decided to open this clinic, I was working in Fort Mill previously, and I knew that I wanted to just bring this sort of environment back to Denver because there's not one similar to my clinic, and serve the community that I grew up in.
What do you like most about living and working in Lake Norman?
Well, I mean, it's my hometown. So there's always that like love for your hometown. But I mean, it's a small town, it's still, even though Denver is growing rapidly, it's still the like small town that I grew up in. There's still a lot of green space. There's still a lot of that like small town vibe where a lot of people and you like know everybody's like sister and cousins, and like the family trees kind of still like everybody knows everybody. So I love that aspect of it. And I think that's like what I want to bring to the clinic, is that when you walk in, you feel like you're welcome, and that it's a small place. There's not a lot of stuff going on. It's, you're the person we're focusing on. And so I like that small, like intimate kind of vibe.
How many people on your staff?
I am the only one.
Oh, okay.
Right now, I'm the only one. I've only been open for about 8 months now. So I'm the only one. I have a massage therapist that rents space for me. So I have other people kind of coming into the clinic to receive services from Josh, the massage therapist and body worker that I have. So we kind of created this space where if you need care from a massage therapy standpoint, you're taken care of. And if you need care from a physical therapy perspective, you're also taken care of.
So you've been in business for 8 months, and I think I met you about 6 or 8 months ago. You attended the 0K and was a participant and a sponsor of that event. And then you were a sponsor. Well, yeah, you were participated in our business expo just a few weeks ago. That was your first business expo. What was your impression of the Lake Norman Business Expo, which was the first one we've been able to have since 2019 because of the COVID pandemic?
It was a lot of fun. I'm always just surprised at how many people are there. And I know there's a lot of businesses because it doesn't just include Denver. It's like the whole Lake Norman area. But like other business owners were so welcoming and super eager to offer me advice, or, hey, here's my phone number if you want to get a cup of coffee and ask me questions, or like, how do I delegate this task to someone else? Because eventually you're going to be busy enough that you don't want to do all those things for yourself. Or I met people, I met CPAs, I met, other like people that will eventually be able to help me and carry that growth forward. So it was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun there. And I met other physical therapists in the area that I didn't know about, and I'm having coffee with one of them next week. So it was great.
Well, we enjoyed having you at both of those events, and appreciate having you as a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for this morning spending time with us and sharing a little bit about your business, and everybody who is watching it on YouTube. And we want to thank Joe Vagnone, who makes this possible. Joe Vagnone is a local business broker, and we appreciate him. Chelsea, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great weekend at the lake.
Thanks, Bill.